So it's official, the assistant is done in your home now too. As Gemini is here, it's finally bringing genuine contextual intelligence to our smart home speakers, displays and cameras. This changes the game. Let's get into what this means for your existing home speakers and how you might benefit in the not too distant future. If you want more Gemini, Google and Android information, news and tidbits, everything from phone reviews to deep dives into the software that powers it all, then hit that subscribe button. It honestly helps me out more than you know, and you'll be joining a growing community of like-minded legends like yourself. Cheers. So I've said it before, the application of AI is better than having a basic static assistant that simply responds to your commands. The old way of talking to smart speakers, well, let's be honest, it's been tedious and frankly frustrating at times. You had to learn specific, almost robotic commands and phrasings, and if you got the device name wrong, well, God help you, because the whole command could trip up and fall over. That clunky era, hopefully now, is well and truly over. As Gemini for Home is here, this isn't software just slapped onto old hardware. It's actually, according to Google, built on a rebuilt home architecture that makes it things like spatially aware and optimized for communal environments like your home. This shift is why it's more than just an assistant replacement. It's potentially a system overhaul and what we've waited for years. On the voice front, Google is basically getting 10 new voice options for you to choose from. They're far more natural, featuring realistic pacing, intonation, and hopefully sound a lot more like Gemini on your phone, which Google says should complement that kind of fluid responses that are only possible with large language models. They should sound a lot less robotic, thankfully. The most important takeaway though for every single person watching this video is the death of specific command structures. Gemini now understands context and conversational flow like it does on your phone, so you can talk to your home speakers like a person with context preserved for back and forth exchanges where you don't have to repeat every single subject. Even better, you can literally change what you say mid-sentence and Gemini won't trip up. It just adjusts on the fly because it's processing the intent of your language and communication. My biggest frustration is hopefully going to be fixed here, as you don't need to remember exact device names, as if you have tons like I do, maybe up to 50 or 60, Google's classic example in this situation, I think, is the perfect illustration of this spatial awareness that I'm talking about in action. So for instance, if you're upstairs and say, I'll just use Hey Speaker here. Hey Speaker, I'm about to cook. Can you turn on the lights in the kitchen? Well, it knows through its rebuilt logic to turn on the lights in the kitchen downstairs. Beyond that, it can handle stringing together multiple instructions and even complex requests with exceptions. So something like the old system probably would have choked on. So for instance, you can ask it, turn on all the lights except the kitchen lights and lock the front door. Well, it should handle that, or at least in theory. Gemini is going to make those everyday necessary actions genuinely smarter, faster, and more reliable. Take another example, for instance, like say you're playing audio and you want to ask for a song, you can do so in any manner of speaking. Like you might want to recite the lyrics because you don't necessarily know the song, or you can describe a scene in which the song was played in. So you could say something like, hey speaker, play that song from the chase scene in the film about a driver with a leather jacket. It should be able to pick that out and play that for you on your service of choice, be that YouTube Music or Spotify. That is a really powerful change for multi-user households who don't exactly know the name of a song, don't exactly know the exact commands, and want to play something on a speaker in your house. The improvements also hit the core productivity tools that are made Google Assistants pretty popular, including calendars, reminders, lists, and timers. This is where this Gemini LLM shines because it reasons through those requests. Requests like, remind me to order costumes a month before Halloween, rely on Gemini to understand the time frame and the context, not just set a rigid date of say October 31st or October 20th, which you want that before then. When you ask it to do things like add an ingredient for something like pad thai, for instance, to your shopping list, Gemini will actually reason through that request and ask clarifying questions about things like portion sizes, dietary restrictions, dietary requirements. And in one of my favorite examples has to be when you set a timer. So you can ask Gemini to set a timer to cook a baked potato, for instance, or if you're a meat eater, set a timer for cooking the perfect steak. And the AI will research the right cooking time and the cooking method and set the timer accordingly. That kind of real-time context-aware information retrieval is exactly what the assistant was always supposed to be, and it only took an architectural rebuild to deliver that. One of the benefits here is that, like when you use Gemini on mobile and desktop, you can have those deeper conversations about any topic you want. For that immersive chat, you can do things like ask, hey speaker, let's chat, and enable Gemini Live on specific devices. Sadly, it's only going to be available on the Nest Audio, the Nest Hub Max, and Nest Hub 2nd generation. When you do this, it'll work like it does on your phone. But yeah, I think that's something that we've wanted for a while on our speakers. So if you do have any of those 3 devices currently, that's great news. Google also envisions AI cameras that use Gemini's multimodality to truly understand what is happening in a scene if you have cameras, not just detect the pixels changing or something that has been trained to do so. This is a massive step up from, let's be completely honest, the janky current alerts that we used to and sometimes don't always work as they're intended. So instead of a generic motion detected or person detected or package detected notification, the alert can now read something useful like a delivery driver is placing a package on the porch or on your front doorstep. You can also conversationally search through your video history. I think this is a killer feature to directly answer questions like, what time did the kids get home? What time did that parcel get arrived? Did I leave the car door open when I left the car, for instance? I think this is going to be huge for people who ordinarily wouldn't care too much apart from just briefly viewing these cameras day to day. Finally, there is also a home brief, which is exactly what it sounds like. It understands what events are important and can summarize hours of footage into digestible recaps, and you can even customize it to focus on specific things like your pets, something I do anyway. Meanwhile, the redesigned Google Home application, and this is the core for all of this, is how you access these new capabilities on your mobile phone. Google rebuilt the app from the ground up to make things faster, more reliable and complete. They claim startup is now 70% faster and crashes are down a whopping 80%. That seems really, really good to me, and I will believe it when I see it. But yeah, good news all around for the Google application. The conversational Ask Home text chat is also the new center of the application here. This is brand new. It lives right at the top of every single screen. Even if you don't have cameras in the home, you'll be able to do things like ask about device stats and insights like how long was the AC or TV on in the last week or so. And it just allows you to create automations that get way easier to access, use, and enable. You can make them from natural language requests, such as, for instance, at night in the house, or if the house is empty, make it look like someone's home. And there's something that we all care about with security. And Google will suggest lights and TV routines to simulate a presence in your home, so it looks from the outside that there is somebody enjoying TV, putting on lights, all that kind of jazz. Structurally, the application is pretty easy to navigate. The bottom bar is now simplified from 5 tabs down to just 3. You have Home, Activity, and Automations. The Activity tab is where all of the alerts from first and third-party devices will appear, and importantly, this is where your home brief will live. And for those of us who've complained for years, the new Automations editor is finally a native experience on both Android and iOS, meaning no more of that janky web view stuff we've complained about in the past. Now let's talk about the hardware, because this is where Google is starting to show their hand and their commitment to making Gemini one of the dominant platforms across the AI space. Here's some absolutely epic news. Nearly every single speaker from the Google Home to the Nest Smart displays that were released a few years ago, anything released in the last decade will support basic Gemini functionality, which I think is impressive backward compatibility, and Google deserves a lot of credit for this. The full, rich, continuous conversation experience of Gemini Live, though, does have specific hardware requirements. That's why Google is also introducing the $99.99 Google Home speaker next year in early 2026. This is not a simple refresh of the Nest Audio either. This speaker has been deliberately engineered and designed for Gemini usage, which means it features a fully custom processing or fully custom processor explicitly built to handle Gemini's AI for faster, more fluid interactions. This dedicated silicon is apparently necessary to run the complex continuous listening and reasoning models that power Gemini Live without bogging down the hardware itself. It's essentially the tensor chip philosophy that's been applied to a smart speaker, which is really good to see. Google has clearly also put a lot of thought into the aesthetics and the environmental impact of this new device. The speaker features a domed top and a curved side, all covered in yarn or like a fabric texture. It offers balanced 360-degree audio with a base housing a light ring that is crucial for this new Gemini experience, as it indicates when Gemini is listening, thinking, reasoning, responding, or critically in that continuous Gemini Live mode, so you can see just when it's reacting to you. We are getting 4 nice color options. I think they're great color options in some ways. You have berry, which is a pink or red hue, hazel, which is a classic black or grey sort of color. There's jade, which is a light green, and porcelain, which is the reliable beige and white option. I do think Google really nailed the core colors this time around. No matter what your preference is, you should find something that suits your home decor. And for those of you who want a true home theater system, you will be able to pair 2 of these speakers with the Google TV streamer for immersive audio experiences. Plus you get stereo pairing and group pairing with existing Nest speakers for that multi-room audio that you all know and love. The Google Home speaker is coming in spring 2026 and it will launch in 19 countries including the US, Canada, UK and much of Europe, plus Australia and New Zealand. Obviously you can see on screen just where they are going to be available right now. So just as the Assistant is done, so is Nest Aware though. This is being rebranded to Google Home Premium. The new structure has 2 tiers. It has Standard and Advanced now. The Standard tier, which is $10 a month or $100 paid upfront annually, is this new base level. It gives you 30 days of event-based video recording history on what Google calls whole home history, plus intelligent alerts and access to Gemini Live on those supported devices I mentioned. Here's a clever bit though. The $19.99 per month Google AI Pro subscription, which unlocks Gemini 2.5 Pro on your phone, tablet, whatever it is, includes this premium tier. Then there's the advanced tier on top of this. This includes, well, it's $20 a month or $200 paid upfront annually. This is where you'll get that full AI camera experience. This bumps you up to 60 days of event video history and 10 days of 24/7 video history. The key features unlocked here are having Gemini Search or have Gemini Search available for your video history and the Home Brief daily summaries as well. If you are an AI Pro subscriber, you can upgrade for just $10 more. As for the redesigned application, this is rolling out globally starting today on Android and iOS. You can actually sign up for early access right now via your home icon in the app's home settings. So if you have version 4.0 or higher, go do that. Access to Ask Home, cameras and doorbells is up first. Gemini and speakers and smart displays will start testing towards the end of this month. So yeah, I'm excited to see that and we'll be hopefully trying to test that here on the channel to give you an idea of what to expect. I think that's a lot of news. I appreciate it. It's something that we've been waiting for a while. I do think the good news is that every single speaker and Nest Smart Display that Google has released in the past decade will support this new LLM functionality. I think, as I say, there are exceptions noted and there are features that require more capable hardware, especially for Gemini Live, which is, yeah, the Nest Audio, Nest Hub Max, 2nd Gen Nest Hub, and of course that upcoming 2026 speaker. And as annoying as it might seem to some, it definitely feels like Gemini is making some serious headway. And yeah, it's Gemini's world. We're just living in it right now. I think it's fantastic that Google's supporting all that extra older hardware because it was worrisome that, yeah, you might have a speaker that you've loved for years and it suddenly becomes a little bit defunct. But yeah, I'm glad to see that they've done that. Let me know what you think of this. Well, it's a massive switch, isn't it? Down in the comment sections below. Are you excited for the potential Gemini Live continuous conversations at home? The brand new Nest speaker, which I think a lot of people will be excited for. We barely had a look at that. I'm excited to see what it does in the next few months. Or are you just happy for a faster, potentially less janky application? I'm excited for that, most notably. But yeah, cheers for watching. Hopefully this has been digestible for you and I will speak to you later.